Good evening, everyone. How are you all doing today on the 17th of September, 2025? And yes, my friends, we are still on a positive timeline trajectory. I decided to go live tonight because I did get a transmission from Commander Valiant Thor regarding galactic protocols. Also, he wants me to share the different plans and contingencies that were put into place to counteract Project Bluebeam in the event that the Cabal did try to pull their last card. And I also wanted to share part of the transmission is why they are intervening now. And, there's a lot of reasons why. So I'm going to be sharing a little bit about galactic protocols in their connections to extinction events and also the awakening of humanity and why all of this is happening now. Okay, so with no further ado, is there anything I wanted to share before I get into the transmission? No, I think that's about it. Oh, yeah, really quick, guys. My October classes are up for grab. October 24, 25, and 26, I believe, is when my October classes begin. For those that have not taken any courses of mine, they're only $100, and each course consists of 4 classes on a weekend. So go to my website, ourcosmicorigin.com, to secure your spot for October. I'm excited about my September courses, which began this weekend. I can't wait to meet some of the new Galactic Jedis that have never taken a course with me. It's going to be quite fun. And also, for only 20 people that are interested in learning about my intimate connection with Commander Valiant Thor and why I am so close to him, I will be divulging that for the first time for only 20 individuals on my birthday. For $400, that's only 20 people. So if there's 20 of you that are willing to pay that, we're going to have a 1-hour Zoom call where I'm actually going to be able to share some sensitive information that I normally cannot share on any platform. So you guys are going to get to know me on a personal level, okay? For only 20 of you. That's it. Beyond that, I can't do that. Now, also, another thing I wanted to share was for those of you that are interested in detoxifying your body from everything, all the metals, all the pollutants, radiation, you name it, that there is this product called Folium that I actually not only take, but I strongly advise for everyone to take, especially during these times of activation. This is called Folium. It's a type of, you could say, cleaning ingredient that completely detoxifies your body from all of the bad stuff, that people are getting with that and what they eat and all that stuff. So it keeps your body clean. And the link is always, of course, in the description. And I guess I could go on with the Galactic report. Okay, so many negative timelines have been canceled, okay, because of the fact that Earth is the most important planet not only within our galaxy or universe, but within the entire multiverse. Throughout the galaxy and the entire universe, there has been protocols that guide the interaction between advanced civilizations and developing worlds, such as our own, okay? Well, just to let you guys know, we are one of many developing worlds, okay? Chief among this is often cited is the Prime Directive, which is what? A universal law followed by higher dimensional galactic councils, which forbids interference in the natural evolution of a primitive world. Well, this sacred law also protects free will, ensuring that civilizations grow and evolve without becoming independent on outside forces. But there is an exception, my friends, and this is why 3i Atlas is here, okay? There is an exception. Well, there comes a point when non-interference is no longer ethical, when a developing civilization faces what is known as an extinction level event, okay? Especially if that world is not just any world, but a key node in a grand intergalactic experiment. Well, believe it or not, guys, Earth is that. As it turns out to be, it is precisely that kind of a planet. So, to the interstellar, galactic, and cosmic societies, Earth is a cosmic experiment. And if you want to go into the details as to why that is, I suggest that you take Our Cosmic Origin course. Not only is that mind-bending, giving you 998 billion billion years of cosmic history, but I also break down the different types of level 1 all the way to level type 5 civilizations, their operations and functions, their DNA structures, and their purpose, okay? And much more, of course. So Earth is not an isolated sphere floating in space without meaning, right? According to ancient cosmic records and information that has come from ET races across many cultures and starseed sources, it is believed that the Earth is a living laboratory, a convergence point of galactic genetics, consciousness templates, and karmic timelines, okay? I've been saying that Earth is the nexus point, right? This is where every probable future reality of Earth comes back to the center point. And that's what we are right here, okay? Now, it is a place where dozens of star races have contributed to their DNA. Again, if you want to get the whole scoop on this, please take my Our Cosmic Origin course, right? So it is a place where dozens of star races contributed their DNA, philosophies, and of course, their spiritual energies. Humanity was apparently seeded not just as an experiment in this, right, but as a living library of galactic history. And this explains why, within our own genome, guys, we contain the entire history of the entire universe, okay? No other species has that but us. So, what happens on Earth affects far more than Earth alone. It actually resonates outward, not only within other star systems existing on various levels and densities and dimensions, but also throughout the different alternative timelines, whether positive or negative, okay? So what happens on Earth apparently affects everything. It resonates outward, right? We are what they call the nexus point, rippling through the energetic fabric of the entire multiverse. So if such a planet were to be destroyed, guys, okay, through war or environmental collapse or artificial manipulation by dark forces, we have been threatened by all of that, right? It would cause a shockwave of imbalances throughout countless of not only star systems, galaxies, but everything else, right? The entire universe would be affected. So the Galactic Alliance, the allies of humanities, right? Those that never openly interfere, but slowly but surely influence us towards a spiritual type of development, composed of the most advanced benevolent beings, right? Has not only been observing the Earth since the various seedings, and yes, there are various seedings. We are part of the fifth seeding. Again, take Our Cosmic Origin course to learn all about the other seedings. But not only have they been monitoring the Earth throughout the various seedings, but they are also stewards of the Earth. In other words, they have to protect the Earth and make sure that she completes her ascension. Okay? So, and all of this, my friends, while they are following the prime directive, okay? Because there is what is known as a cosmic threshold that the Earth is a part of, and we are approaching it very, very soon, okay? The prime directive prevents the Galactic Alliance and any other race from directly interfering in the natural development of a planet, but that also changes under two conditions, okay? If a global catastrophe were to threaten or extinct our civilization or planetary life, then of course they would have to either A, execute an emergency rescue mission, very similar to the Noah's Ark rescue mission that was conducted during the times of the flood by the positive Anunnaki under the direction of Enlil Sus, right, who caused the flood due to Enki's genetic manipulation and abominations. But and also, when a civilization reaches a sufficient level of spiritual and conscious awakening, then at that point, which is being assessed right now by Three Eye Atlas, that's one of the things that Three Eye Atlas is doing, is letting the guardians of councils know, the councils of the great central sun, that the Earth has already reached a critical moment, a critical level of spiritual awakening. Okay, we are hitting what many call the 100 monkey syndrome or the Maharishi effect. Okay, so those are the only two reasons why they would override the prime directive and of course intervene, and they did in times immemorial, per the flood. Okay, per the flood, that was a time when the bloodline of Adam, the original Adam, not the Anunnaki version Adam, right? The Lulu, but the original spiritual Adam. That's when his bloodline was corrupted. And there were many different chimeras, hybrids, unauthorized genetic projects that were conducted under the fallen faction of the Anunnaki that needed to be eliminated from the earth, not to mention the Nephilim, right? The interbreeding of what? Fallen angels, which is what the Bible calls the fallen angels, right? Or which is what we would call the Igigi, those that followed Enki and Marduk, and of course, earth women. They all needed to be wiped out. So that's just to give you guys an example of a situation where they actually had to intervene, okay? And then, of course, as echoed in every ancient account, Noah, under different names, was actually the son of Enlil, by the way, not according to the tablets that Sakura Ascension translated, but he was also known as Ninhishida, not Ninhishida, I'm sorry. He was also known as Utnapishtim and Zizudra to the ancient Indians. So Noah had different names, but they all talk about this event where one person was able to be preserved in order to reset everything, okay? So that is one example, okay? Another example is when we reach a certain level of spiritual awakening, which is what's happening now, which is the reason why 3i Atlas is here, by the way. Then at that point, they have to override the prime directive. And if the governments of the earth do not disclose the truth to the general public, especially when private companies within the private sectors have already inherited such technology and have been abusing it within privacy, right? Breakaway group, secret space programs. Then, of course, they would have to also conduct what is called a mass first contact event, okay? And that, my friends, is where I believe we are heading. So in the first scenario, right, if it's an extinction event level, whether through nuclear war, which was actually planned, if you guys read the protocols of the learned elders of Zion, as revealed in my book, The Secret Government, right? There were 24 protocols that were outlined by the fake Jews, of course. We could say that that timeline was also canceled, obviously, right? Also, in terms of us being extinct by artificial intelligence, going rogue, right? I told you guys in the positive timeline, there will be no antichrist, right? There will be a what many call a harvest rapture type of event. And also, if there is what is known as planetary poisoning to the event where, billions go bye-bye, right? Or an incoming celestial body, as in the case of what happened to the dinosaurs. Then, of course, the allies of humanity, the Galactic, what used to be known as the Galactic Federation, now known as the Galactic Alliance, would not allow this, and they would have to, of course, be obligated to intervene in order to prevent or even reverse such damage, okay? And again, a lot of this boils down to why. Why would they intervene if any of these events were to occur? Well, because Earth's destruction wouldn't be a localized event, guys. According to quantum physics and entanglement, right, it would actually disrupt the interdimensional experiment that has been going on for billions of years. Now, for some of you that are new to my channel, you're probably thinking, what are you talking about, this interdimensional experiment that's been going on for billions of years? Well, for those that have taken our cosmic origin, you know what I'm talking about, right? Earth is part of a project involving intergalactic cooperation with higher density civilizations. And there are many whistleblowers and many channelers and many contactees that have actually confirmed this, okay? Billions of years of collective cosmic work has gone into Earth, my friends, okay? Why would that be undone all of a sudden? It makes no sense, okay? And the reason I'm doing this live and talking about this is because there's still a lot of people that are fearing that we are on some sort of negative trajectory, that we are going to be invaded, or that we're going to be doomed, and that is not the case, okay? That is not the case. In the second scenario, right, which is if humanity reaches a critical mass of consciousness, which is what's happening now, the veil begins to lift. And so that moment, a planet begins to collectively question its origins, and a lot of people are, right? And that's why I wrote my book, Our Cosmic Origin, because that restores the truth, right? Our multidimensional nature, the truth about our extraterrestrial heritage, and of course, our celestial beginnings. So when enough people begin to question the conventional teachings of our origin, right, which are both factions, both Darwinian and the religious, are incomplete, right? They just don't make any sense. Well, they begin to reject what is known as the systematic control of society. And then they begin to remember its spiritual nature. And that is what's happening now. Okay, that's why we are not going to be part of no extinction event. To put all those doomsdayers out of business, right? Don't listen to that stuff. The times now are very, very different, guys. And of course, it begins to broadcast a different frequency when enough people reach that level of understanding. And that's what's happening right now. One that resonates with what? Unity, sovereignty, and cosmic readiness. Okay. And at this point, the Galactic Alliance is allowed to make contact on a mass level. Okay. Not as invaders, but as our family, our extended family of the stars. Okay. So this is not a rescue mission as in the first event, right? In the event that there was some sort of a major catastrophe, right? A reverse, electromagnetic pole shift, which was also canceled. But it is a cosmic reunion when it comes to this event, okay? Where people have reached a certain level of spiritual awakening, or enough people, then they're able to what? To readmit the Earth back into the galactic community, okay? So first contact without violating the prime directive would only happen if we reach critical mass in this great awakening. And that is what I believe is happening, okay? For those that are on the positive timeline, that is exactly what is happening. So it's important to understand that first contact does not mean ships landing in every city also and being stepping out to control human affairs, right? True first contact, first is energetic and conscious before it is even physical. And this explains why a lot of people that are hybrids, that are starseeds, are actually getting, vivid dreams or getting transmissions or information from either their galactic self or their star family. Okay. So when a sufficient number of individuals awaken to their galactic heritage, they begin communicating through what? Through meditation, through transmissions, right? Or telepathic resonance, then the barrier begins to fall. And in this elevated state, the alliance can appear subtly at first through ships witnessed in the skies, downloads of cosmic knowledge, or even through incarnated starseeds waking up to their mission. And so this type of contact is actually co-created, not imposed. It honors free will, and that allows humanity to decide, together how and when deeper interaction occurs. Well, physical contact will follow when humanity is ready not to worship or fear our star brethren, but to stand beside them as equals in consciousness. So, there are some galactic contingencies in place and plans in the Earth's safety net that have been established by the Guardians. And I believe that I've been talking about some of them in the last few months. Again, for those that are new to my channel, if you want this to make more sense, I would suggest that you watch all my lives for the last 6 months. I break down a lot of information, okay? So, despite appearances, Earth is not abandoned or unprotected, okay? The Galactic Alliance has fail-safe mechanisms in place should the cabal or rogue factions attempt to destroy the planet. So there is this thing called, and this is why I believe that Project Bluebeam or this stage alien event will not take place, guys, okay? There is this thing that they already had, there is this thing that the Galactics had already, you could say, put into the works, okay? And I'll explain that. So there's this thing called the planetary defense grid. It is these are hidden technologies and dimensional fields that can be activated to deflect or neutralize incoming threats, whether they are nuclear, asteroidal, right? Asteroids, or even frequency-based. And then there's also a thing in place that they put in called the energetic stabilization. And this is where the Earth's core and atmosphere are under constant observation to prevent artificial pole shifts or engineered catastrophes. So to answer your question, will there be a reversal pole shift causing massive tsunamis and earthquake? No, not anymore. Right? All of those timelines were apparently canceled because of the significance of the Earth. Right? Billions of years. The Earth has been in development for billions of years. In other words, also another thing that was put in place is what is known as DNA activation programs. Millions of starseeds and lightworkers were incarnated on Earth as part of a long-term plan to awaken the collective from within. And also disclosure timing algorithms. And this is the moment when humanity crosses the readiness threshold. Mass disclosure through government or direct contact will be initiated in stages. And this is where I believe 3i Atlas is here. Okay. Also, humanity was never alone. Okay. And I'm sure everyone here knows that and never has been. We are part of something far greater than most can even imagine, my friends. Okay. Earth is a crucible of cosmic evolution, is a crucible, rather, an epicenter of cosmic evolution. It is a spark of light within a vast galactic experiment. And while the forces of darkness have tried to hijack the narrative, they will not be allowed to end it. Okay, there is a line that once crossed summons the help of the higher celestials. Okay, and as humanity continues to awaken, remembering who they are, why we're here, and what we are capable of, the Galactic Alliance always stands ready, not to save us, my friends, but to stand with us, okay? Because the moment we realize our divine nature, that's when the prime directive no longer applies, right? That's when the veil is lifted and first contact becomes a reality and inevitable, okay? So, for decades, as you guys know, Project Bluebeam, right? A lot of people are still talking that this 3i Atlas could be a, the catalyst for that. And I just want to squash the rumors that are going on with other podcasts, okay? For decades, Project Bluebeam has existed as the final play card by the Cabal, right? So, and as you guys know, Project Bluebeam was actually revealed by Werner von Braun, right, the ex-Nazi scientist, at his deathbed to be a false flag operation utilizing advanced holographic technology, mind control, and coordinated global events to stimulate an alien invasion or a false second coming of Christ or a Messiah figure. For instance, if you are Muslim, they would project what Allah would look like coming from the sky. Or if you're a Christian, they would project an image of Jesus coming from the sky. Okay, that was all part of Project Bluebeam. And so the goal was to, again, unite humanity under a single authoritarian world government that we would call what? A New World Order, One World Government, causing us to surrender our freedoms in exchange for protection from this non-existing or this otherworldly threat. Okay, that's the whole premise behind Project Bluebeam. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So, but as of recent years, my friends, credible whistleblowers, and this is confirmed by Commander Valiant Thor, and cosmic insiders suggest that Project Bluebeam has been canceled. Well, at one point, of course, it was very viable. It was a very viable strategy for mass psychological manipulation, right? The world, however, has changed because of the fact that what? A lot of people are waking up and a lot of people are knowing about it. Okay, so the more there is awareness about this, the lesser it's likely to become or to happen. Okay, so, in the late 20th and early 21st century, the population was significantly more susceptible to manipulation through centralized media, religious fear, and ignorance of advanced technologies. And I'm talking about 20 to 30 years ago, okay? Now, of course, the digital age has emerged, and most people couldn't even conceptualize holographic projections in those days, okay? 20, 30 years ago, most people would not have no clue of what a holographic projection would be, right? No people even understood what HARP was, or CERN, or what DEWs were doing 20, 30 years ago. So yeah, back then it would have been very, you could say, successful if they would have wanted to, play the last alien card. But the the times have changed, my friends. Okay, the times have changed. A lot of people know about this stuff. A lot of people know about these types of technologies. Okay, back then, the ingredients for success were all present 20, 30 years ago. People were still trusting in the mainstream media. And this is before the Great Awakening post 2019. Okay, there was a lot of religious fervor and prophecy awaiting fulfillment, right? Lack of awareness of black budget technologies, uh, a docile population dependent on what? Government narratives. I'm talking about 20 to 30 years ago. Yeah, 20 to 30 years ago, guys, before the Great Awakening. Unfortunately, a large number of humans were very docile. Okay, I'm sorry to say it. So back then, they would have activated this. Project Bluebeam, if they would have activated this, could have stunned the world into compliance like this. Okay, it would have worked. Okay, cities would witness messianic figures appearing in the sky, all right, not knowing about advanced holographic technology. Governments would collapse under the illusion of alien invasion, and a new world order, one world government under the guise of peace and unity would have been established. Okay, but the times are different now, my friends. Too many people know about these advanced alien technologies that, again, our own government has been using from behind the scenes. Okay, so things have changed over the past 2 decades, especially since 2019. There has been a wave of global consciousness awakening, right? Referred to as what? The Great Awakening. And this apparently has swept across the entire planet, especially since 2019, 2020, catalyzed, of course, by alternative media, spiritual disclosure, digital warriors, whistleblowers coming forward, cosmic insights being revealed. And so, therefore, millions have began questioning the official narrative, rejecting authoritarian control, and exploring multidimensional truths about reality, energy, and our human origins. And that is the reason why they told me to wait until 2021 to publish our cosmic origin, because before 2020, when I finished our cosmic origin back in 2016, my book wouldn't have been registering in people's brains. They would have just completely seen it as sci-fi. They wouldn't have understood anything. So they told me to wait till 2021, and then people would be ready to understand our cosmic origin. Okay. So the very tools that once served the cabal, the internet, the media, and science, were apparently now, within the last few years, right, have in a way turned against them, right? As awakened individuals have been using these tools to uncover, suppress truths, right? Today, too many people understand the nature of what a false flag operation is, are aware of holographic technology and staged celestial events, no longer buy into mainstream fear-based programming, well, at least I hope not, and of course, seek sovereignty, spiritual truth, and galactic understanding. So, this widespread consciousness apparently upgrade made Project Bluebeam unviable, right? The psychological impact it aimed to create is no longer as effective on a population that sees through the illusion, per se, 20, 30 years ago, okay? Now, there have been some contingencies that were placed by the Galactic Alliance in the event that, of course, they try to pull the last card, which, again, guys, I don't think they're going to do it, okay? The cabal is hanging by a thread. So, the Galactic Alliance, apparently, who have been monitoring our world before as the Galactic Federation, have long known about this plan, even before Werner von Braun revealed it, okay? And these contingencies that were put into motion by the Galactics in the event that they still try to pull this card were both technological and spiritual in nature, ensuring protection for humanity's evolutionary path. And the key measures included electromagnetic shielding grid, which was placed back in 2016 right? As early as 2016, that's when Hillary Clinton was saying, pull the alien card, pull the alien card, when of course 47 now beat her on the, 2016 or so. Of course, the Galactics needed to what? Employ electromagnetic shielding grid, which is an advanced etheric and quantum technology, where were put into place around the Earth's atmosphere to detect and neutralize weaponized, holographic, or frequency-based transmissions designed for mass illusion. Also, they also were able to implement what is known as interference protocols. And what these are is these are high frequency pulses that could be emitted to disrupt Earth's based mind control technologies like HARP and satellite based projection systems. And they also were able to neutralize satellite arrays. The Alliance tracked and, in some cases, disabled specific Cabal owned satellites intended for atmospheric projection and frequency manipulation. And last but not least, of course, the awakening of starseeds, old souls in human body, right? And that is all of you. As part of a spiritual protocol, millions of starseeds did incarnate on the earth to raise consciousness and serve as anchor points of light. Well, these beings are now anywhere from, birth, anywhere from babies, all the way to 80s and 90s. All right. Some of you first comers came in the late 1940s. Well, these beings, all of you, did play a huge role in the disrupting of mass fear programming and preventing psychic manipulation. And also, they implemented what is known as the timeline intervention. And that is that through multidimensional time awareness, the Galactic Alliance has been working to shift Earth onto a higher frequency timeline since 2012, where fear-based outcomes like Project Bluebeam are no longer resonant or aligned with the collective trajectory. And then last but not least, mass disclosure, right? Synchronization. In the event of a Project Bluebeam attempt, the Alliance planned a mass disclosure event involving real ships, real beings of light, and full declassification to expose the hoax and reveal the truth about humanity's galactic heritage. So, Project Bluebeam was, and at its core, a plan rooted in deception, as revealed by Warner von Braun, and it relied on fear, ignorance, and of course, technological manipulation. But in an age and in a time where light is overtaken darkness, which is what's been happening since 2019, the Great Awakening, the truth is surfacing faster than ever, my friends, right? All the illusions like Bluebeam can no longer thrive because a lot of people have become aware of it. Plain and simple. So now humanity stands at the threshold of cosmic reintegration, which is a future where we take our place among the stars, not as slaves or to fear, not as slaves to fear, but as sovereign beings of light. And thanks to the awakening consciousness and the protective measures of the Galactic Alliance, the path ahead is no longer ruled by false messiahs or phantom invasions, but by truth, unity, and cosmic remembrance. Okay? And cosmic remembrance. If you guys could give me a minute, I do have to use the restroom. Give me 1 minute. All right, I am back, and there is more. Before I take Q&A, I still have another part of the transmission to share. So they wanted me to share with you guys a little bit about how advanced civilizations are able to work within the parameters of protocols when monitoring underdeveloped primitive worlds. Okay, so the best way to start this part of the transmission is, all right, I'll just start it like this. Okay, apparently the universe is not a random scattering of life, okay, but a carefully orchestrated symphony of evolution. There is intelligent design in everything, my friends. Consciousness, right? Consciousness is embedded in everything that is organic and alive. And of course, everything it's embedded with another thing called cosmic purpose. So advanced interstellar civilizations, having transcended planetary boundaries and material limitations, in other words, those that have geared towards spiritual evolution as opposed to technological development, which oftentimes leads to their destruction. Well, advanced civilizations have always followed a strict protocol when it comes to the seeding of new worlds that are ready to be seeded, when it comes to them observing the development of each world and the eventual integration of primitive worlds into the galactic community. These procedures ensure that the sanctity of natural development is preserved always, while also safeguarding the broader interstellar ecosystem. So the seeding of life on a primitive world is always a sacred operation. This process is conducted only after a thorough assessment of the planet's atmospheric composition, magnetosphere strength, tectonic stability, and energetic potential. Once deemed viable, microbial or genetic blueprints, often encoded within the multidimensional DNA, are introduced. And these are either native to the galactic database or tailored specifically for the unique conditions of such world. Seeding teams, often composed of ethereal or non-physical entities, which is what I call the seeders in my book, or Cosmic Origin, operate through cloaked bioships or interdimensional fields, ensuring minimal disruptions to the existing planetary resonance. Once life begins to emerge, these teams disengage direct contact and shift into a long-term observational phase. Following a seeding of a world that is suitable for life, the planet enters the epoch of silence. This is a period spanning millions of years during which external interference is strictly forbidden. This phase allows biological life to evolve organically under the planet's own environmental pressures. Advanced, you could say, organic sentinels and quantum-based monitors hidden in orbit or beneath the crust gather vast amounts of data, tracking everything from tectonic shifts to genetic mutations. These organic sentinels feed data back to the centralized galactic archive, where evolutionary timelines are mapped against predicted outcomes. Well, crucially, during this time, any form of contact, whether it's to telepathy, energetic, or even physical, is strictly prohibited. Only emergency interventions are permitted, such as in the case of rogue asteroid collisions or synthetic contamination by other civilizations. Now, some of you guys might be thinking, well, why didn't they save the dinosaurs when they were taken out by the asteroid 65 million years ago? Well, apparently the asteroid was not a random rock that just came into our solar system and whacked the Earth extinct, eliminating the dinosaurs. That was actually sent to the Earth by the Galactic Federation during those days in order to destroy the dinosaur population that was actually developed by the draconian reptilians, by the way. So yes, there you guys go. That was all intelligently planned in order to prepare this planet for the eventual population of humans. And that's why the dinosaurs needed to be taken out. Okay, so that was also done by intelligent design. So let me continue. Once sentient life begins to emerge, marked by self-awareness, symbolic communication, and rudimentary social structures, the planet enters what is known as the second phase. At this point, the watchers that are assigned to that particular primitive world, these are often higher dimensional beings or energetic observers who tune into the collective consciousness of the dominant species, and the role is to access, or to assess rather, to assess emotional maturity, empathy potential, and harmonic resonance with universal laws. In other words, they're trying to see if the developing race has reached what is known as spiritual maturity. Okay? Dreams, intuition, and mystical experiences then begin to be gently seeded into these individuals, right? Laying the groundwork for what is known as spiritual awakening. However, direct contact is still withheld, and the species must navigate the perils of its own duality, right? War, greed, and environmental exploration, or in this case, exploitation in our case. Well, at this point, a critical marker in a civilization's development is the emergence of atomic and quantum level technology. The moment a species unlocks atomic energy, which is what we did in the 1950s, which again called the attention of the Galactics, often through nuclear experimentations, it signals the beginning of the technological threshold phase. And this is where, of course, the seeders have to make sure that we don't blow ourselves up. So at this point, cloaked observation intensifies, and that's what happened when Commander Ashtar and, of course, Commander Valiant Thor were dispatched from the different galactic councils to the Earth immediately. At that point, the civilization use of energy, treatment of the biosphere, and an internal societal structures are closely evaluated. This is also the stage where time is considered most volatile, as civilizations may either destroy themselves or ascend rapidly. Some interference is allowed during this stage, primarily through encoded transmissions, crop circle phenomena, or strategic leaks of advanced knowledge through inspired individuals. Like myself, I'm one of those, right? That's why I wrote Our Cosmic Origin. However, often contact is still withheld until the readiness of the majority of humans is fully assessed, okay? What they're looking for is making sure that enough of us have already reached a level of consciousness where we are more unified than separate, okay? So contrary to popular belief, technological advancement is not the primary criterion for integration into the interstellar community. Rather, what they're looking for is unity consciousness, if whether or not we reach a level of spiritual maturity, right? And that really is the defining marker to let them know whether or not we are ready to become part of an interstellar culture. So the planet is at that point considered ready, right? If we show signs of spiritual maturity, which is what's happening now, when it demonstrates that, then there is a global cessation of warfare at that point. There is a collaborative planetary governance that is emerging, right? The Alliance, the Earth Alliance. There is protection and reverence for its biospheres. There is a scientific spiritual synthesis in its worldview coming into union, right? And that's what we're witnessing. We're seeing, once again, the marriage, the unity of science and spirituality coming back into oneness. And there is a willingness for peaceful exploration of space with humility, okay? So once these conditions are met, then there is a readiness signal that is emitted, often subconsciously, but the planet's collective consciousness eventually lets them know that, hey, we are ready to become part of a galactic community. So this triggers the activation of what is known as the Galactic Liaison Protocol. Okay? This is the first contact and integration protocol, the Galactic Liaison Protocol. So the Galactic Liaison Protocol involves the careful excuse me, guys, the careful selection of first contact candidates, often non-political figures such as scientists, spiritual leaders, or even people like me and you. Okay? Contact begins with telepathic dreams, spontaneous downloads of cosmic knowledge, or physical sightings of craft in a non-threatening manner. Eventually, open contact is initiated in a form digestible by the civilization. Star nations reveal themselves slowly, offering advanced knowledge and healing, zero point energy, and of course, interstellar travel. And a planetary invitation to join the interstellar community is then therefore extended, not as subordinates, but as equals. Integration is always overseen by the Council of the Spheres. Now, this is the first time I actually mentioned who the Council of the Spheres are. Well, the Council of the Spheres is a multiracial interdimensional body responsible for ensuring that each new member upholds the principles of cosmic harmony, mutual respect, and of course, universal stewardship. Okay. So the protocols guiding the evolution of primitive worlds are not only advanced, they are profoundly compassionate. They reflect a deep understanding that consciousness must evolve through free will, experience, and of course, inner awakening. So while the stars may seem distant to us, they have been watching the higher evolution, right? They have been waiting and they are, of course, loving us from afar until we are ready to join them, not as broken children, but as awakened equals in the vast galactic family. So, yeah, anyways, that is the galactic transmission that I had for you guys this evening. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I did go live earlier with James Rink, who is a super soldier, and we actually he really disclosed a lot of good information regarding the super soldier programs, the various groups known as planetary organizations that exist in pocket realities and parallel Earth realities. For those that want to learn more about if whether or not you were part of these off-world programs, right? Because they do mind wipe you. I would strongly suggest to watch my collaboration with James Rink. It is on my live. I believe that was like a few hours ago. So it's free. Just watch it, guys. He's also promoting his event, which is a Super Soldier conference that is coming up this October. So, yeah. Yeah, I just mentioned that, the Super Soldier Conference. Oh, yes, really quick, guys. I decided to do an in-person conference here in Sedona, Arizona, for those that couldn't make my last event on the 3rd of August. So October 26th, for just a few individuals, I am planning to do an in-person lecture of my groundbreaking class, but in person, our cosmic origin. Okay, it's going to be taking place here in Sedona on the 26th of October at the Cielo Connection in West Sedona. For details, I will always put it in the description for those that did not have a chance to meet me on the 3rd of August. Well, this is your opportunity to be part of an in-person class scenario where I'm going to be breaking down the entire Our Cosmic Origin course. I'm only going to charge $40. I'm going to keep it very, cheap. But again, it's going to be a 3-hour course or 3-hour workshop in person on the 26th, and my lovey is going to be doing or performing some healing work on you guys. So energy work, chakra balancing, and healing using her crystals and all of that. For those that come to my event on the 26th of October next month here in Sedona, Arizona, at the Cielo Connection. All right, look it up, the Cielo Connection in West Sedona, Arizona. I'm going to be doing an in-person class for those that come. And anything else? Oh yeah, for those that want to eliminate the aluminum and all of those nanoparticulates, again, this is also a bodily invasion that's taking place with nanoparticulates, smart dust. That, well, folium is up for grab, guys. Some of the Galactic Jedis have already started taking Folium, and they are seeing results. I'm getting a lot of emails, a lot of testimonies that people are seeing massive results. So for those of you that want to clean out your body, the link is always in the description. And I do see Starcadian in the house, and he is posting the link for the Folium. Thank you so much, brother. What happened to my glasses? Oh, here they are. They were on my shirt the whole time. Thank you so much, Starcadian, for posting the link for the Folium. That is a very amazing thing to take, guys, especially during the times of Ascension. It came to my attention that a lot of the parasites could only exist in your body when there are a lot of metals in your body. Okay, so without the metals, it is very hard for the parasites to exist in your body. Not only that, but it also cleans out the mitochondria and all of the negative radiation that is bombarding us through the towers, through the ELF waves, through the cell phones, to the RF frequencies, you name it, guys. We are being bombarded. So this stuff takes all that radiation out of your body so that your natural healing process takes effect. In either case, it is about that time. Yes, I did go live twice today. Again, the first live I did was with James Rink, breaking down some of the planetary corporations. He actually connected a lot of dots. I would strongly suggest that you guys watch that interview. James Rink was talking about how there are certain celebrities that are fronts and clones to some of these hidden planetary organizations that are working with the military-industrial complex, and of course, the off-world programs. So I would strongly suggest to watch my interview with James Rink that I posted on my YouTube channel hours ago. It's good. Anything else before I take Q&A? No, I think at this time I'm going to go ahead and take some Q&A. All right. So where is my chat? What is that? It's called an induction. All right, there I am. I do want to shout out to New York in the house. Deborah Wees is in the house. MJF is in the house. Cheryl, Lee Starr, Sylvia Vidal, Rodney Loesch, Eleanor, William Ryan, Starcadian, of course. Thank you so much, Starcadian, for being here twice. Starcadian was also here with me earlier, monitoring the chat when I was doing my live with James Rink. Very grateful to you, brother. I appreciate that. Angela is in the house. Starlight is in the house. Of course, my lovey is in the house. Hi, Monica. She's in the our room over there, bringing me water and making sure that I stay hydrated. Thank you so much, honey. I'm actually going to need more water now. All right, let's see who else is in the house. Trinity Q, Melissa by Design, Aaron H, and all 2,200 people that are in the house. Awesome. Yeah, I almost didn't go live today, guys. But I said to myself, you know what? I did get a galactic transmission. I think the Jedis deserve to know about these protocols, about Project Bluebeam being canceled, the different things that were in place in order to make sure that nothing happens and that the positive ascending timeline reaches full completion. So that's why I decided to go live, just so that you guys could understand why there is no doomsday, right? Why there will be no third world war, why there will be no Project Bluebeam. Now, for those that want to mail me something, I do have a mailing slot. It's 1771 West State Route 89A, Suite B, number 3015 in Sedona, Arizona, and the zip code is 86336. I appreciate all the cards, the gifts, everything. Thank you guys so much for that. All right, let's take some Q&A. I'm actually going to use my phone for that. If you guys could type your questions in capital letters, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, Suzanne K, for that donation. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. That is right. Pam.909 says the worst is over. Elizabeth Stoney says, is there a number for the Folium product? I would like to order it. Well, I do have a link that I always put in the description and in the comments. If you guys, if Starcading could actually put the link for
foliumpx.com.
No, but they have to go through my link to get the discount. So yeah, I always put a link in the description, and I'll make sure that I also put it in the comments and pin it for you guys as well. Hi Ishmael, what can you tell us about Virl? Oh, the Virl Society. Well, in according to the mystical traditions, the Germans had a secret society known as the Thole, and the Thole was more of a cover society for an even more secretive group known as the Vril. Now, the Vril Society was, again, they could be traceable back to ancient times, and they did continue existing under different names and under different, you could say, functions. But the Vril Society is the core of the German secret group that established contact with the Nordic group by the name of the no a Nordic extraterrestrial group known as the God, I can't believe I can't remember their name. Um, Hun, what's the name of that group? Anyways, Maria Orsic was the one that was like leading this channeled connection with the Aldabrians. Oh my God, I can't believe I had a brain fart. The Aldabrians. Okay, so the Vril Society were not only about collecting cult data and, of course, trying to decipher the secrets of immortality, trying to have access to the inner earth and connect with the Agarthians and the Shambhalans, but they were also establishing contact with a negative group called the Aldebarans, I'm sorry. And so that's who the Vril Society was. They were the first ones to inherit advanced stellar technologies that later led to the development of the Bell, the Hanabuku, that initiated what became known as the German secret space program. Okay, so it all began with the Vril Society, in other words. All right, I do have a super chat here from Wesley. He says, Ishmael, please tell us more about the dual nature third type of indigos. Good question. Well, there are three types of advanced souls that have incarnated. The first soul comes from dimensions 4, 5, and 6, and they are your typical starseed, and that is the majority of the starseed nations that are incarnated. The second one is more of an advanced soul that comes from dimensions 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and that includes the level of the archangels and the level of the Elohim creator gods that have incarnated in human form, and those are the most advanced. And the third type of indigo is both a very advanced Elohim that is sharing the body with a fallen Anunnaki consciousness that is known as a fallen being. So a type 3 indigo has the biggest challenges because their body is both being shared by an advanced Elohim consciousness and a fallen Nephilim, not Nephilim, but a fallen angelic consciousness, if that makes any sense. So their job and their purpose is to overcome the fallen angelic consciousness in order for them to reach the full power. Okay. But unfortunately, a lot of these type 3 indigos have been classified as Asperger's, highly functioning autistic. So, and they are also Anunnaki. They are also extensions and fractals of Anunnaki consciousness embodied in human beings. So it's very important to know that a type 3 indigo could either be used for good or bad, okay? Because they're kind of like Anakin Skywalker, right? That's the best way to describe an indigo type 3. Thank you so much for the super chat, Rosetta Nebula, thank you so much. I better use my phone. It's so hard to read the chat from my laptop. Thank you so much, Renee Milham, for your super chat. She says, Hi, Ishmael. For the attempts on our lives, for me, there has been many. For the 144,000, will we see 3D justice? Um, we all have special protection. Okay. And yes, we will be seeing justice. Absolutely. Again, in the positive timeline, guys, we're going to be seeing everything exposed. We're going to be seeing justice coming to the earth. We're going to be witnessing a reunification with our star brethren. We're going to be activated. We're going to be going from limited conscious to full consciousness. So, to answer your question, sister, absolutely yes. Thank you so much, Robin Anderson, for the super chat. She says, Ishmael, when I was very young, I kept having the same nightmare. It was a presence standing over me. I was froze in terror. I woke I woke up trying to scream, and I have the M in crescent moon, an X on my hands. Whoa. Robin, it sounds like you were obviously part of some sort of breeding program, and it seems like the fact that you have the M in crescent moon means that you are very gifted. And yeah, so you apparently were paralyzed, right? Sounds like you were paralyzed. That's why you couldn't move and you couldn't scream. And I'm sure that a lot of you have experienced that. So, there are different indicators, right? For those that have experienced that, there are different indicators. Um, I would like to add that the reason you guys sometimes experience that is because you guys are being used in off-world programs. Okay, one of the things that me and James did agree on is that the majority of the volunteers that are down here in human form, right, the star people, well, why do you think they use us in these off-world programs? Because of our advanced ET genetics. Okay, so that is the reason why a lot of us experience these dreams or these things. Thank you so much, Melissa Harper. Wow, that's a huge donation. I appreciate that for that super chat. Your question is Metatron a false light being? Good question. I am new here. Sorry if this has been covered. Well, there are two Metatrons. You have the original Metatron, which is the uh, creator of the outer life circuits that serves within the Council of Uversa of the super universe government. And then you have the fallen Metatronic inverted entity that is known by various names throughout the cosmic community: the AI God, the Mitra signal, Omega, the end, the destroyer of worlds. And the reason he's known as Omega Metatron, because technically in esotericism, the word Metatron means the giver of life. So the opposite of that, the anti-life equation, would be what? The destroyer of life. So that's why there is a different type of fallen Metatronic entity that is masquerading as an AI god. And I believe Ashayana Dean was one of the first to actually talk about this 30 years ago. I don't know what happened to her. According to Carrie Cassidy, she's still around. And also, the real Metatron did incarnate in ancient times as Enoch, right? Enoch walked with God, and when he ascended, he became Metatron, the Archangel Metatron. So there is a good Metatron, the original Metatron, rather, and then there is a fallen entity that adopted the name Metatron, but he goes by the name of Omega, which is a digital god, right? A cybernetic, not a god, but a cybernetic advanced tyrant that has destroyed many universes. Emily, thank you so much for your super chat. She says, thank you so much for all you do. Oh, you are so welcome. Hope is real. Thank you so much for your super chat. She says, during a nap, saw two men, long black cape, hoodie, energy faced, walk through walls. My dog was barking. Then a 9-foot man put my head on his belly, transferred his memory to me, saw his life with Abraham Lincoln. Wow, thank you for sharing that, Hope. That was such an intense experience. Fascinating stuff. Yes, please. Thank you so much. Do you guys mind if I mute myself so I could blow my nose? Thank you. All righty, let's continue with the questions. Are we headed for a depression this fall? This is a question from RFS. Not in the positive timeline. Not in the positive timeline. Thank you so much, Tracy, for your super chat. Tracy5055, welcome, welcome. She says, Ishmael, thank you for all you do. Do you know why they recently will not let anyone photograph Uluru Layers Rock in Australia? Uluru, okay. I've heard they have a massive dome, which is a deep underground military base dome system underneath it. Yes, that is correct. Thank you so much for bringing that up.
Uluru is one of the Earth's main chakras.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Uluru in Australia, it is one of the Earth's main chakras, by the way. Okay, so I also want to thank Jennifer Carter for her donation. Thank you so much. Very well received. So to answer your question is no, I don't know why they're not allowing anybody to photograph it, but I would assume it's because of the fact that it is a chakra. It is one of the Earth's chakras, and there's a lot of interdimensional activity going on there. And I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the deep underground base. But again, guys, that base is the Galactics are working on clearing that base as well. And it's going to get to the point where every dome, every underground base will be neutralized. Okay, will be neutralized and in the hands of the Alliance.
Some are asking, why is Trump in England right now?
I don't know. Do you know?
It could possibly have to do something with the 1.5 million protests that's going on against some politician there. That politician's corrupt.
Yeah, somebody wants to know why Trump is in England, and according to my lovey, it probably has to do with that protest that is being done by millions of people. So, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that is the biggest protest ever in the history of London. That's awesome. I mean, that's great. Thank you so much, Jeanette Breton, for your super chat. She says, Hi, Ishmael. What is the protocol? I took Folium PX the first month and took the other two Folium products for the month 2. Do I repeat this protocol for month 3 and 4? Yes, that's how you take the Folium. For most effectiveness, for those that are taking Folium, you take Folium PX 3 times a day, 20 to 30 minutes prior to a meal on an empty stomach. For a whole month. And then on the second month, you take Folium Immuna and Folium Relax 3 times a day on an empty stomach, 20 to 30 minutes prior to a meal. And then you repeat on the third month, Folium PX by itself once again, 3 times a day. And then on the fourth month, you do the Immuna and Relax again. Okay, so you always do it that way. You just kind of go back and forth every month. So that's the proper way of taking Folium. And there is a way of measuring to see how many metals have been eliminating from your body. And the more you take it, again, if you take it for like months consecutively to a year, there does come a point where no metal or radiation could exist in your body. As it comes in your body, it quickly becomes neutralized. Okay, so it gets to that point where they can no longer invade you from within. Thank you, Starcadian, for posting the Folium link in the chat. And again, I will also put it in the comments at the end of the live for those that are interested in getting your body detoxed. Jack is asking me, how many times have you incarnated, Ishmael? I don't know. I really don't know how many times I've been here. Ishmael, can you do me a favor and say to my wife Jade that she is awesome and I love her? All right, Jade, if you could hear me out there, your husband William Henderson wants you to know that he loves you so much and he adores you. How's that, William? A lot of good questions here, a lot of repeating questions. I want to welcome all my new subscribers. Thank you guys so much for being here. Again, for all my new subscribers, if you guys want to get up to speed with all the galactic intel and how it connects to what's happening here on the Earth, I would suggest that you guys watch my lives for the last 6 months. Thank you, Drift Speed, for your super chat. What do you know about amphibioid yellow salamander, three-eye pilot? Never. Oh yeah, that's the. Is that the meteorite that came to South America, babe? Is that the one you've been monitoring? There's some rock that some guy in South America. Is it?
No, he's referring to saying that the pilot of Three Eye Atlas is some yellow salamander king. That's the Panama meteorite. That's different.
Oh, okay. The Panama meteorite. That's something else that's going viral. But no, I don't know anything. I've never heard about the amphibioid yellow salamander. And to be quite frank with you, I don't think that there is an amphibioid yellow salamander that is piloting Three Eye Atlas. But thank you for letting us know. Thank you to Hensil's Wildlife Removal for your super chat. Appreciate that. All right, this is a good question from Ashton Morgan. How do you know when you channel you aren't talking to imposter beings? Good question. Well, first of all, guys, I don't channel. I connect with Valiant Thor via intuitive telepathy, and I also get transmissions. There is a difference between getting transmissions and channeling. Now, for those that channel, I would be careful. Make sure that you are fully grounded, fully protected, and of course, invoke the protection of your angels right before uh, any channeling. Okay, because oftentimes there are a lot of beings that masquerade as light beings that appear to be Nordic, good looking, whatever. And it's really a draconian or it's really an inorganic, cybernetic, ugly, nasty being that shapeshifted or is using advanced technology to make you think that they are a positive alien. So be careful, okay? One of the ways in which you guys could discern the difference is, your chakras would tell you, right? If you feel it in the pit of your stomach, chances are is that you are being duped, right? That it is an imposter. Run away the other way, cut the channeling, and don't let that message come through. And also, channeling is dangerous because oftentimes these beings could possess and take over your body. So make sure you guys, if you guys are going to channel, make sure you guys learn how to do it correctly and always be protected, okay? And another way of distinguishing the difference is feeling it in your heart. If you feel it in your heart, chances are is that you're actually, again, connecting with a positive being. So you have to take a lot of precaution when it comes to that. Exactly. Grassroots Strong says protect yourself. Absolutely. Does folium remove or neutralize the effects of toxic amalgam fillings from dental work? I am not sure about that. I could always ask the doctor who made it, who created it. That's a good question, though. Yes, we have seen some pretty cool, unexpected wildlife here in Sedona. We keep seeing deers. That's pretty cool, like in our yard, in the streets. Uh, Deers are awesome. Lee Star wants to know what my favorite music is. I like classical music and I also like trance dance. Not techno, there's a difference, but trance dance. Or anything that has an angelic voice to it also. I like the female vocalist when it comes to the trance dance music and so on and so forth. Don is asking me, do you know if the Earth has moved its rotation axis?
Oh, because of the Kamchatka region having very strong earthquake activity, even recently it was a 7.7. That actually made the Earth's axis slightly tilt. Just the strong impact of those earthquakes in the Kamchatka region of Russia.
Can you come over here and say it loudly?
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
So recently, the 7.7 earthquake that was monitored in the area of the Kamchatka region in Russia was so strong that it has been said that the Earth's axis has shifted slightly because of that.
Thank you for letting us know. All right. Thank you, Mika J. Thank you so much for your donation. Well received. Somebody's asking me a really good question about a craft or a ship that goes by the name of Electra. And this is a question from Kimberly Ellison. Yes, I have heard of Electra. The Electra starship actually comes from the Electra star system, which is one of the seven sisters that revolves around Alcyone, which is the great central sun of our local star cluster. So yes, I have heard of Electra. I do not listen to jazz music. I'm sorry. But I do like classical again.
Beethoven.
I know Beethoven is my favorite composer. All right, one more question, guys. I did go live twice today. Again, for those that are just jumping on, don't forget to watch my live with James Rink. He revealed a lot of good information regarding these breakaway groups, interplanetary corporations that have been ruling our world from behind the scenes, the connections with the celebrities, and so on and so forth. Okay, so
Can I throw in a question?
sure, go ahead.
A lot of people in the chat are asking about the rapture that is possibly taking place September 22nd to the 24th. Do you have any thoughts or ideas about that?
Good question.
Feast of Trumpets.
Anything is possible, guys, because we are ending so many cycles this year, which also corresponds to the arrival of 3i Atlas, the planetary alignment on the 21st of December. So between now and December, it's always best to be prepared, to be grounded. I mean, there could be a rapture. I'm not saying it's going to happen for sure, but it's always wise to be prepared. Okay, that's all I'm going to say.
You got to download about September 23rd, which is in that window.
Yes, anything could happen. But is it going to happen for sure? I'm not sure. And again, one of the reasons why interstellar fleets like 3i Atlas, which is an assessment biocraft, is here is to see who is ready to go into the near Earth and who is not. Okay, the bifurcation of timelines is coming, my friends.
And also the Feast of Trumpets is taking place in Jerusalem on September 24th, where there's going to be people playing 1,000 ancient trumpets. So it's on the 24th in Jerusalem as to when they're doing that ritual, which could possibly even have the red heifer sacrifice.
I thought they've already sacrificed the red heifer.
They want to do it again.
They want to do it again? Well, for those that watch my last live, all of this corresponds to what they're building underneath Israel, right? The android fake Messiah. Again, guys, if you guys did not watch my live from Monday, I dropped some really good intel that I don't think anyone else has shared regarding what's going on underneath Israel. All right. This is why Israel is the last card. All right. One more question. Is the rapture the same as the timeline split? Absolutely. That's a good way of seeing it. They're both one and the same, right? The negative timeline and the positive timeline, which currently coexist at the same time, go in different realities. They just split. So yeah, that's a great way of explaining it. Yes, these are biblical times. Absolutely. Yes, a positive Ashtar does exist. Again, living in a multiverse, you have negative and positive in one timeline in the Alpha universe. Really quick, the Galactic Federation of Worlds was the positive interstellar peacekeeping command that was established in response to the Draco Orion Empire. And then there's another version of the universe where, believe it or not, guys, where the Galactic Federation was evil and the reptilians were good, but that's just a different version of the universe, and then every version in between. So to answer your question, yes, there is a positive Ashtar, and there is also a negative Ashtar that was duped by Enki and the Etorians, also known as the Animus, when they infiltrated the Galactic Federation back in 2016 to 2022. Well, Sharon Mine is saying the Messiah is supposed to be a normal man. Well, we're talking about the fake Messiah. We're talking about the rise of the Antichrist, which is going to be an android, right? He's not going to be human. He's going to be pretty much an AI looking like a human, right? He's going to have skin like a human. His body's going to look human, but inside he's going to be made out of silica. All right, guys. May the God Force be with you all. Don't forget to watch my interview with James Rink. He breaks down a lot of amazing disclosure regarding super soldiers, the different programs, some of the wars that were taking place on Mars, and so on and so forth. May the God Force be with you.
And this is James's book, Lone Wolf.
Lone Wolf. Good book, by the way. I've already read it twice. May the God Force be with you all. Don't forget to sign up to my October classes. They just came out last night. And I will see you guys on Saturday for another update.
May the God Force be with you all.
Yes, may the God Force be with you all. All right. Bye.